Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back. Today you join me in the 2025 Hyundai Tucson. When I reviewed the Tucson a couple of years back, I said that it and its sister car, the Kia Sportage, were pretty much the best SUVs that you can get on the market for your family. And I'm here today in the newly launched facelift model to see if the tweaks that they've made have improved on an already great recipe. So the price has gone up ever so slightly, starting now at £32,000 for an entry-level petrol car. That's a 1.6 turbo, 158 horsepower with no hybrid technology. Although you can have it with either a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed dual clutch transmission, and it comes in either 2-wheel or 4-wheel drive even on the base model now. The self-charging hybrid starts from around £35,000, and that one has a normal torque converter 6-speed auto. You can also get a plug-in hybrid, which is good for around 40 miles on electric charge, which is a little bit behind some of the rivals now. But that one starts at around £39,000, and you can spec them up all the way to about 44, which isn't too bad considering that's the best car with all the bells and whistles. The standard petrol claims around 41 mpg, although I've been getting more like 36. The hybrid claims around 49 to 50, and the plug-in over 250, which obviously take that with a pinch of salt. That's if you're utilising the electric charge a lot. 0 to 60 times range from around 8 to 10 seconds. The entry-level model has 158 horsepower, the hybrid has 212, and the plug-in hybrid 250, slightly down on the previous model. The Advanced is your entry-level car, and that includes things like 17-inch alloys, LED lights, keyless entry, front and rear parking sensors, dual-zone climate control, a 12.3-inch central display, and 4 USB-C charging ports as standard, which is good because the previous model was mainly USB-A. The next model up, the Premium, that has the 8-speaker Krell audio system, 18-inch alloys, adaptive cruise control, and a heated steering wheel and heated seats. That's pretty nice for a lower spec car. Then you come up to the one that I'm in here today, which is the N-Line. This one gets sportier styling, but pretty much the same kit. You also get this nice suede finish interior and some contrast stitching. Just looks sharper and sportier, especially with the 19-inch alloys. N-Line S is normally my pick of the range. That one has the sporting pack, but also has things like memory seats, ventilated front and heated rear, panoramic roof included, which is really good because pan roof is one of those things that a lot of other brands like to option. I do think it's really good how Hyundai and Kia include pan roof in one of the trim levels. In a Volkswagen, for example, even the top-end Tiguan currently, you have to spend over £1,000 to get a pan roof. The ultimate trim is the top of the top. That's the one that comes with the 360-degree surround view camera and the blind spot monitoring cameras, which you know and love from some of the other cars of this range. So enough about all that then. What's different from the previous pre-facelift model? Well, there is some exterior styling changes, so let's talk about that first. I always thought that this was quite a good looking car anyway, but the facelift has really done it some justice. They've kept the recipe essentially the same, but they've really facelifted the front end with a new bumper and some sharper grille styling. It really brings it up to date, I think, and even though the lights are very similar to the previous gen, just having some sharper lines at the front, it really tidies it up and modernises it, I feel. Brings it a bit more in line with the Kia Sportage, which I already said was a more angular design at the time. Going to the back, it's a little bit more squared off at the bottom, although unfortunately the indicators are still at the bottom of the bumper, which I don't like. I think they could have really implemented them in the light bar at the back and just made them look far more premium. Even if they weren't dynamic indicators, I just think they could have done something a bit nicer there. But they have smoothed it off a little bit as well, so the Hyundai badge is now included as part of the glass. It's not sticking out anymore, and the rear wiper is still tucked away under that nice spoiler. Overall, it's just ever so slightly sharper. They haven't really tampered with the recipe too much, but they've just made it look a little bit more modern and a little bit more aggressive, which I'm all for. The real difference is on the interior. What an improvement. So the previous Gen 1 was pretty nice anyway, but it was a little bit fiddly at times, and this one is even more open and airy. If you've spent any time in the Hyundai Ioniq cars recently, like the 5 or the 6, this will all be very familiar to you. It's quite a similar layout and the tech is really borrowed from there as well. What you'll find versus the previous gen is there's a few more physical controls, which is a real blessing, and also the displays have been updated with the newest software, and also it now curves towards you nicely and looks a bit more like in the Ioniq range. Overall, it's a massive improvement. You've got the new steering wheel with the Hyundai 4 dots emblem in the middle, and you've also got some useful controls on the steering wheel as well. For example, when stuff like the speed limit warning starts bonging at you incessantly, there is one button you can just press and hold to mute that completely. You have to do it every time you get in the car, but that's just a regulation now. The fact that you don't have to delve in through the actual controls on the touchscreen to do that, fantastic. The designers say they went for more of a sense of openness, and I can see and feel that. The old cabin wasn't cramped at all anyway, but this one definitely is an improvement. As I say, the key controls are kind of angled towards me, which looks really nice, and also there's a little bit more space here and there. The door bins aren't huge, but they fit a bottle comfortably and they're quite practical, and you've got a little bit of storage in this centre armrest here and a reasonable sized glove box. You've also got a wireless phone charging tray down here, and also on your left hand side you've got a tray for a phone or some other items as well for the passenger to use. It's a really useful space. Everything I need feels quite ergonomic and it's within reach, and there's a shortcut button for key features. When you're using the infotainment system, although unfortunately there isn't a click wheel like in Genesis cars and BMW iDrive and stuff like that, I would like that as an addition, but it's quite easy to reach because it's curved towards me and it's really easy and slick to use, so it's not too much of a bother. And you've got some physical controls for volume and also a home shortcut button, a shortcut to your maps and your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and track skip and things like that, all on the steering wheel and in the centre. My main complaint in the previous car was the climate controls. They were all touch sensitive and it had this weird sort of screen stuck in the middle that looked like it was off of a calculator. They've really improved it this time round, and there is still quite a lot of capacitive touch stuff there, but it's not overwhelming, and you do now have physical turn dials for your temperature. They don't feel the best, but the temperature is integrated in them, which makes them look more premium, and overall it's a really, really welcome change. As mentioned before as well, you've also got USB-C as standard now, and of course you've got your higher wattage charging around the car as well, which is really useful. There's buttons within reach to turn off auto start stop and also change your drive modes, and the steering wheel functions are really good. You've got one touch driving assist on there, so you press that and it will automatically steer for you on the motorway, which is really good, and you can turn that off with one single button, no messing about in the infotainment. And you can press and hold that to turn off the lane keep assist, which provides haptic feedback and audible tones. It's just all easy to turn off at the touch of a button without messing about with the controls. You've also got your standard quality of life features from Hyundai. So you've got driver profile, so when you get in the car you can change to your own personal settings, and also you've got shortcut buttons, one on the steering wheel, one on the dash, which you can program to a specific function of your choosing. Super useful. There's even stuff like voice memos in the infotainment, and also a valet mode, so if you're having the car parked for you it locks out certain functions. And when you go through a tunnel, the GPS knows this and it will shut off the outside air so that you don't get any fumes in the cabin. Really simple touches, but really, really nice. I also love on these cars that everything is really well damped. When you indicate and things like that, it just feels nice. And when you turn a control, it comes up on screen to tell you what you're doing, so you don't have to kind of look and fiddle about in the dark. There's a nice ambient lighting package in this one as well, which is customizable by color. And on this N-line trim, the red stitching really lifts the cabin. In terms of material quality, things are good. Up here, it's all quite smooth touch, kind of leathery materials. Same on the doors here. You've got some glossy plastics, but nothing too overkill. It's just touches in the right places. And even though the screen is quite fingerprinty, it's not the worst that I've seen. Also, the climate controls have this kind of matte finish to them, so you don't get too much glare off of those. Right at the bottom you do have some scratchy plastic, but it can be totally forgiven, and it's a bit of a shame that there's no padding by my knee, but to be fair, this is so open and spacious that I don't really notice that. The seats are lovely, and to be honest, I could do a really long journey in this and be comfortable. This one doesn't have the electric memory ones, but you do have some lumbar adjustment, and the position is just right. I can rest my elbows comfortably, and I can get a nice position for my neck as well. And this suede material I really like. It's not like an Alcantara material, it's more plush than that, and the seat is more squidgy than some in rival cars as well, so even though it's supportive, you will be more comfortable for longer journeys. I like the way they look in this N-Line model too. Getting in and out of the car is made nice and easy by the ride height, and there is also guards for the bottom so that when you get out you don't get muddled up your trousers. The infotainment is absolutely fantastic. I think one of the best in the business, honestly. Between this and the Genesis and the Kia products, I just think they're so good. Although you don't get full maps like the virtual cockpit in Volkswagen Audi Group cars, there's enough display here for you to get the key information that you need. On this one I've got oil temperature, I can see the torque figure dancing up and down, which is cool, and I've also got the turbo PSI information as well. Again, just something a little bit fun. And you can also have things like your MPG and economy and that kind of thing, and there's a few different themes to choose from too. It's nothing too fancy, but it shows you just enough information, and I feel like it's more simple than a lot of rivals. I really love the font they use too. It's just really modern, really crisp. As I say, loads of quality of life features on the main infotainment screen, but it's just butter smooth. There's a shortcut screen that gets you access to quick functions, and the majority of the time you're going to be using wireless CarPlay or Android Auto. I think, honestly, it is the perfect blend of modern touch controls and old-fashioned controls. The only nitpicky thing I would like is an extra control physically for the touchscreen, like I've got in my Audi, for example. But honestly, it's not that bad, and you're not going to be interacting with it too much while you're actually driving anyway. Moving on to the rear of the car, you do have ISOFIX points back there, which are the kind of hidden kind. I don't mind them so much. I mean, they do look better than the ones with covers on, and obviously you're not going to be losing any covers in the meantime. Also, you've got USB-C charging down there. Unfortunately, it's not on the side of the seats to keep the cables out of the way like in some of the other cars, but it's good enough. Sitting behind myself, I'm around 6 foot. I can get a really comfortable position back there, and you do have some recline on the seats as well, which is really welcome. Although you have to change that when you fold the seats flat, it resets to the most upright position. But overall, again, the seats are quite plush, and that suede material on this N-Line model really helps with that. Thigh support is decent, better than some rivals, and I've got loads and loads of headroom. There is a small transmission tunnel, but it's not too bad. I don't think you'd want, obviously, 3 adults back there for really extended periods of time, but it's certainly better than a lot of the rival cars. And to be honest, I think even at my height, I would be comfortable doing a long journey back there, especially as you can control the recline slightly on the fly. So if you get uncomfortable, you can just change the tilt ever so slightly. The seats are a 40-20-40 split, so there's plenty of practicality, and there's some cup holders back there too. Visibility out is pretty decent. I mean, the mirrors are huge, which is helpful. And even on this model without blind spot cameras, you've got a blind spot warning light on the mirrors themselves, which is good. And view out the rear, you do have a big C-pillar to contend with, but the car's kind of squared off, so you kind of get a good sense of where it is on the road. And I can't really see the corners as well as I can on some other cars, but again, you get used to the size quite easily, and it's quite easy to place. And obviously on the higher end models, you've got that really good 360 cam as well to help you out. The cargo area, really big and practical. So you've got a big charge point back there, and you've got some tethers and things like that. The load lip is completely flat, so it's nice and easy to get things in and out, and you've got power tailgate on this one as well. In terms of your actual space back there, it is pretty much best in class. If you get the plug-in hybrid version though, do expect some of the cargo space to be eaten up by the additional batteries. But overall, seats fold really flat, and it brings you a nice, easy load area. The downside is there's no electric fold on the seat, so you do have to manually put them up, and as I say, it defaults to the highest position on the recline. But overall, it's a super easy to use space, and the load cover is literally pressure fit, so it's nice and easy to get in and out as well. For the size of the car, you're really not going to be disappointed from a practicality standpoint. It feels cavernous for what it is. So top marks for practicality. Clearly Hyundai are listening to feedback as well in terms of the physical controls, and they've even moved the audio controls on the steering wheel to the right hand side, which is more common because that was kind of an annoying thing. It used to be in the older models, you used to have to control it on the left, which especially is annoying in a manual car like this one. It's honestly a huge leap forward in terms of the interior, and the enhancements now definitely set it aside from the Kia Sportage, which hopefully will be updated very soon. Let's talk about how it drives then. In terms of overall refinement in here, it's not too bad at all. You don't get much tyre noise or road noise. Wind noise is completely minimal as well. And actually the engine is only gruff under really harsh load. When it's idling, you don't really feel it or hear it. Right, let's go for a quick pull. It's not exactly fast, but it's brisk enough for day-to-day use. As I say, this is the base model. This isn't the hybrid or the plug-in hybrid. This is the absolutely bottom of the range in terms of engine and performance. What I'm in here today is also a manual, and it's 2-wheel drive. You do have lots of driver assist and safety features on these as standard, and one thing I've complained about in the past is that they bong at you constantly. But once you've got the car switched on, if you press and hold the mute button for about 3 seconds, it shuts up all of the assist systems. It keeps them on, but it just shuts them all up. And I love that because before you had to mess about in the infotainment. It's just a shortcut now, it's great. You do get a speed warning as standard, which is now a regulatory thing. And also you do get a warning when you stray lanes, and also you get haptic feedback through the wheel when it will eventually steer you back as well. You also got front assist for your collisions and things like that, as well as parking sensors, but you can turn off the lane keep assist completely by pressing and holding the button on the wheel as well. The automatic steering function, I've always said and always praised on these, you press one button on the steering wheel, it just starts steering for you. It's really good. As long as you keep your hands on the wheel, it will just carry on steering for you for as long as you're at a decent speed, and it's really, really a fantastic system. Suspension is about right. It's soft enough that it deals with kind of harsh roads and bumps, and also it doesn't really roll around too much, so it's a nice happy medium. It's definitely not the sportiest of all the cars. If you look at something like a Cupra Ateca or a Ford Kuga, they're going to be a bit more of a dynamic feel in terms of the chassis capability. The same goes for the steering really. It's very light, which makes it nice and nimble and manoeuvrable, but it does create a sense of vagueness as well in a way. Like, it doesn't feel like the most dynamic or sporty drive. I definitely feel like something from Volkswagen Audi Group or something like a Ford Kuga would definitely feel a little bit more agile on a back road like this one. It probably does make your day-to-day driving that little bit easier though, especially when manoeuvring around tight spaces in town. It just means that when you're thrashing it out on a road like this, the steering input is ever so slightly delayed, and also it doesn't feel like there's much feedback through the wheel in terms of texture. But thankfully it doesn't wallow around. It doesn't feel like it's going to tip over or anything crazy like that. It does feel nimble enough that you can get it down a country road like this without any problems. The sports mode does firm things up a bit with the steering as well, which is handy, and I quite like using it on the motorway, to be honest, because it gives it more of a sense of straight and true. As I say, I'm in the entry-level car here, so it's not got the hybrid, and it's not got the plug-in either, so no electric boost. I'm just relying on that 1.6 turbo petrol engine mated to this 6-speed manual gearbox. Now, I've tried the 7-speed dual clutch, and it's a bit hesitant, but it is really decent overall, and the 6-speed auto in the hybrid works really well for that system. This manual is actually quite a pleasure to deal with, to be honest. The clutch is really nice though, it's easy to use, but it's got a decent weight to it. And the actual throw on the gearbox is pretty nice, it feels pretty good. Giving it some beans down a country road like this one, I do have confidence in the brakes as well. The brakes are pretty solid for this weight of car. Like I say, it's just that steering input just feels a little bit delayed and sloppy. But overall, it can hold its own. Just don't expect to be blown away by its dynamic capability. Little bit of understeer. Acceleration isn't going to blow your socks off, but again, if you're just pottering around doing family car stuff, you're not going to be too bothered by that. I mean, this entry-level petrol will probably be good for most people's day-to-day needs. My personal pick of the range though, probably the hybrid in N-Line S trim, if budget will allow. So then, what do I think overall of the 2025 facelift Tucson? Well, I think the car was absolutely one of the best SUVs you can buy for the family as it goes anyway. And I think the quality of life improvements that they've really focused on, especially with the interior with this one, plus that facelift that just makes it look more sharp and more modern, I think they've really nailed the brief with this one. Of course, there's a few nitpicky complaints, but I wouldn't be a true car journalist if that wasn't the case. And I think, to be honest, they can be overlooked by most users. It's not the sort of car that really likes being driven hard, and I would say that rivals such as, you know, the Ford Kuga, Peugeot 3008, and some of the Volkswagen Audi group stuff like the Tiguan is going to have a slight edge in terms of how it feels dynamically. But would I still buy one of these over all of those cars? Do you know what? I think I would. And I think really that is the highest praise of them all. So if you're looking for a new family SUV that's relatively economical, nice and easy to live with, cavernous in terms of space, loads of great tech, and just overall great package. And don't forget the Hyundai 5-year unlimited mileage warranty as well. That's going to play a big factor in for a lot of people. Then look no further than the new 2025 Tucson. It'll be interesting to see what the sister car, the Kia Sportage, looks like as well when they update that very soon. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to look at lease deals on this car, please look at my link in the description below. You're bound to find the best lease deals there. And also, thank you to Marky for letting me borrow this car. This was actually delivered to him yesterday, brand new, a friend of mine, and it had just over 100 miles on it when I started my drive today. So thanks for trusting me with the car and letting me bring this content to you guys. So once again, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.